Hello, everybody. Welcome to what I would like to call the rain voucher. I'm joined by my most handsome friend, Matt Faust, right there.
Hello, everyone. Hello, hello.
And we were supposed to go to Williams Grove tonight, but we did not because the race got nixed because it's raining, which makes sense. Normally, when there's weather, Williams Grove doesn't race because they don't do that. But tonight they do
Yeah.
have a reason for it tonight, Matt.
Yeah, I can't blame the track tonight. It is what it is. It's a little unfortunate because it's the first night of Speedweek and it's very exciting. It's a program you look forward to every year and just really the excitement and the intensity in the crowd is just amazing. But unfortunately, we will not get that tonight. I can't blame. I know I had a little bit of a Twitter tangent the other week going at Williams Grove, but I cannot say much to them today. It was probably the right call because there was just no real time. Even if there was a clear point tonight, it would have been for like a half hour, and at that point, it would have been a waste of everyone's time and money. So a good call by the Speedway. I will give them a compliment this weekend.
I agree. It's one of the few times that we're actually like, oh
Yes.
yeah, they wouldn't have been able to get it in tonight, which is a bummer because we had all this stuff set up to do PA Speed Week to cover every night, but here we are, chilling at home. Matt's at home. I'm at home. I do have my Bears jersey hung up
Go Bears.
high and proud because they won the Calder Cup.
Bears.
Bears, Bears, Bears. Very happy
Yeah.
about that. So at least I had something good happen already
Yeah, at
this
least
week.
an indoor sport around this area did well this week, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you don't need good weather to have the Bears play.
No,
So,
absolutely not.
oh well. But yeah, Grove rained out. We figured we'd jump on and make a video of some sort. So it's live. So if there's anybody watching at all during the actual video, we like Cole Freilich, for example. Anybody who wants to throw questions,
Cole Freilich in here.
yeah, Cole Freilich's here. Cole Freilich, a
Beautiful. That's
very
what we love to see.
he is. You're right. He is beautiful. But we're if there are any questions from anybody that they want us to talk about, we'll do that. I think Matt and I mainly want to talk about, I guess, drivers and points. We haven't. I made the mistake of not including how the points are tallied for PA Speed Week in the introduction video, so I want to do that. Matt and I will jointly conversate about how that works, and then I don't know, Matt. Do you want to start with the points, or do you want to start with like our general intuition about PA Speed Week and PA drivers?
I say we go into actually let's go into the points
All
because
right.
the driver thing we could really get on a tangent here for a while
Word.
and have like an hour podcast type conversation.
Yeah, and what we should
So
also let's throw the weather. We'll do the weather report um, before we talk about drivers. We'll just hit on the weather, even though hopefully you're all smart enough to have gone and watched Matt's video. So here I'm gonna play with my screen. So don't mind what comes up on the screen for a second here. Do, do. All right. So I've got Excel open now, or not Excel,
there it
sorry,
is.
Google Sheets. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Display, zoom in. Okay. Alrighty, Matthew. So what is happening on the screen here? Let's center it on the qualifying. Okay, so qualifying, they list up through the top 35 the number of points that everybody gets, and then if there are 37 cars per se, neither of us, Matt and I, know for sure whether they would have like 36th and 37th would get a point or not. We're gonna assume they don't until we're proven wrong. So what you're looking at inside of this first box, first place in qualifying at the end of time trials every night. First place is going to get 40 points. Second will get 35. Third will get 30. So on all the way down that list. You can read hopefully, and so that's what the qualifying looks like. Now for the heat races, we set this up a little differently. So for the heat races, there's a couple different options of what could happen. If there are 4 heat races and 5 cars transfer from each heat race, the points tallies will follow this grouping. So, example, 4 heat races in a night with 5 transfers. The top 5 get points like this. First will get 20, second gets 18, third gets 16, then 14, 12, and then nobody behind fifth gets points in the heat races. If we have 3 heat races in a night with 6 transfers from each, they will follow this points convention. So first we'll get 20 again, and then it'll go 18, 16, 14, 12, and then 6th place will get 10 points. And if there are no transfers from 3 heat races, so imagining like the same thing as what happened at Sealands Grove last year when there were only 23 cars. If there were 23 cars, you'd have the heat races, and everybody who finished, well, everybody would get points, and it would look like that with 20 down to 6 points for 8th place. Did that make sense, Matt? Should I go into
Yep.
that anymore? Okay.
No. I mean, pretty self-explanatory.
All right, word. So the B mains situation is kind of the same deal. So when there are 4 heat races and we take 5, 4 times 5 is 20. That means we have 4 transfers we need to get out of the B main. And then if there are 3 heat races with 6 transfers, that's 3 times 6 equals 18. So then we'd need to take another 6 transfers from the B main. In both cases, they're getting to the 24 stars of a feature event. So if we have a 4-car transfer from the B main, first we'll get 8, second we'll get 7, third we'll get 6, fifth or fourth we'll get 5. I'm trying not to screw this up. And then if there are 6 transfers, it'll go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and that will be how the points are added for the B main. Everybody behind that gets no points from that B main event, or from any event, I guess. And then the last one is the features, and as I've said them now, since there are going to be 24 cars in every feature, it'll be the same every night. And this is, I don't remember if they actually take provisionals at some of the tracks that do weekly championships, like track championships.
Yeah.
So I guess 25th and 26th would probably also get 5 points if that was the case.
If you're in the future, I think you would get points, yes.
Yeah. But nonetheless, this is just standard convention, 24 starters, the points tallies. And I'm not going to elaborate on reading that once again because, like I said before, I'm at least assuming that if you figured out how to use the internet, you probably know how to read. So now I have to fix my screen and fit to screen. Okay, and then add back our graphic.
I mean, the biggest takeaway from the feature thing is that winning obviously does pay dividends because it is the only thing. It is the greatest difference. You get a 25-point difference compared to everything else where it's either a 1 or a 2-point difference.
Right.
So obviously winning, not that that's any surprise to anyone in racing, is, the holy grail. But
Yeah.
definitely for Speedweek, winning races can narrow your gap very quickly.
Well, it definitely follows the sort of the thought train of sprint car racing. When you look at the way that purses are dispersed, like between first to second, third, for a night, the whole payout, it's very top heavy. The winner, a lot of cases, the winner will get more than half of the total purse, or at least like around half of the total purse. So paying high dividends at the front compared to the back definitely makes a lot of sense. Do you personally, Matt, on the spot, think that the points tallying is fair? Do you like the way that it's weighted for the heats versus time trials versus the main, or?
I mean, looking at it, I feel like the winners of maybe. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, you can really dominate a whole night and finish second, and it's just you don't have much to show for it. But at the end of the day, winning races is really what matters anyways. So, I mean, I think it's fair. If anything, maybe the winner had 25-point increase is pretty big. I think it's crazy that it's only 5-point differential the whole way down for every position. I feel like there'd be more of a gap for getting second and third. Like, getting in the podium, I figured you would have more of a gap from everyone else. So, I think it's fair. I think it's fair overall. I can critique it all day, but I think it's fair.
The one part for me, and I like the way it's laid out. I think it works. But the one part for me is I feel like heat races should. It would be kind of nice if the points tally went down a little further, but I feel like if you compare time trials to heat races at a sprint car race, which of the two of them are more like an attention getter, important to the night, give you information about how the rest of the night's going to go? I would say the heat races do better because everybody's
I
on
would
the
say
track.
heat races as
Yeah,
well.
you're on the track together. By that point, the track's worked in enough where they're competing directly against each other, and yeah, so maybe the heat races could have a little
There's
more
no better way to judge
value.
how a car is going to drive in a race than an actual race before it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just that's what I think when I'm watching the heat races. Whoever moves up the most is going to be someone I'm going to want to watch in the feature.
Yeah. We got a message from we got a comment from a guy who actually I'm pretty honestly kind of proud that he's joined this moment with us. Jake McVeigh is physically here, which is kind of cool because he
That's awesome.
makes the pit walk videos. He's definitely a good asset to Pennsylvania sprint car racing, and he makes good videos. So, yeah, he says that there were 4 people with 0 points at the end of last year's point standings. I don't remember. I have the number. I would like to know where Jake got that number because I have a spreadsheet of the information from last year. So Matt, could you recon that maybe, or if Jake could give us some help? Because
Yeah, I think I know one website which I may be able to find that.
I have results. So if I have results and
There's a website that has the standings from last year still up on it actually.
if you could acquire, and I will pull up my reference and we'll answer it right now. Actually, we'll figure it out. Why not? We have time. We have time because we're not racing.
We are certainly not racing.
Where are they? I'm getting back too far. That's 2020.
No, I do not have anything past. The website that I knew to check only had the 25th, and everyone had points, so. Do not have that.
There's PA. I found my sheet. Speedweek. The night with the most entries was the Saturday event at Lincoln. There were, let's find out how many. There were 46 cars.
A lot.
So I wonder who off the list would be. I wonder who that would be.
I don't know.
46.
But I mean, if we're hearing if 4 drivers had 0 points, then definitely if you don't qualify above a certain threshold, you don't get points. So good information to have.
Well, there were only 4 nights where there were more than 35 cars.
Okay.
So that would mean that those 4 people would have had to have been
at Lincoln.
Actually, yeah, they would have only had to have been at one of those races.
Yeah.
But it does answer the question. Actually,
it does.
Answers the question. So
that's good. Thank you, Jake.
Yes, thank you, Jake. We've done it. With the help of Jake McVeigh, we have figured it out. Which is good because Matt and I weren't 100% on it either. So
we weren't. We have a whole Excel workbook that's going to be tracking our points for us this week, but we did not know the answer to that question. So now we do. There we go.
Yes. Cool.
Very, very good.
Nice.
Very good.
So that's the
points. Joe, who do you think is going to be winning and holding up the Hodnick Cup at the end of the week?
Brent Marks.
Wow. Oh, daring, might I say. Wow. Oh, man. Crazy.
Because Macri's not around right now. He's at Huset's, right?
No.
He's at Huset's or he's not at Huset's?
I mean, I didn't see him at Huset's the other night unless something changed. I mean, I believe he's definitely doing speed.
Well, actually, that makes it a little bit interesting, I guess, because So
I mean, those are the two you want fighting each other, right?
well, Danny Dietrich could do it too.
Danny's been fast.
Danny
Danny, I
won.
mean, Danny's obviously always
Danny won.
someone to watch out
Danny
for.
won 2021. That was
He did.
that was mainly because Brent Marks had like 2 nights where he just did terrible. Like he had one night, I think he had an engine failure or something. Like he had 2 nights in 2021 that were just awful, and that was why Danny beat him. But last year there was no competition for it between the other guys.
Oh, that's right. 21. Yeah, Marks pretty much won like every night, didn't he?
Well, that was last year. 2021. Let me.
Who
see.
was someone won the most? Like won a ton of. I think it was Marks won a ton of races, but Dietrich was able just the most consistent throughout the week.
Yes, that is exactly right. Now I don't remember
consistency.
Let me check how many times Brent won in. Oh, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? 2021. Brent Marks won 1, 2, 3 of the 8 that happened. So yes, you're right. I'll give. Yep, you're right.
You won a lot.
But Danny was in the top 5 all but once. And
Okay.
He finished second twice, and third 3 times, and fourth twice.
I mean, if you're in the top 5, you're pretty much. It means you qualified well. It means your heat went well.
Potentially, yeah.
And then, potentially, obviously, but you're scoring points throughout the entire night, and consistency is key. Obviously, winning races is what you need when you have people like Brent Marks and Anthony Macri, because they're just consistent no matter what. They're probably not going to fall outside the top 10. So winning is definitely something you need to do to win, but you never know how it's going to shake out. You could have Devin Board and some just other names coming in here and winning races, and it could just be a top fight for consistency. You don't know.
Right.
You really don't. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think Devin Borden is very much the dark horse for me. I mean, that's a little bit biased because I just enjoy watching Devin Borden race.
I agree with you. From an
But
unbiased.
this has been his best year coming into Speedweek by far.
Yeah, trying to be unbiased, I definitely agree with you. I think Devin's the dark horse, but he's running every night, so that's a good start because barely anybody runs all the nights.
Correct.
And they won at Baps, they won at Lincoln, they won twice at Port. Did he win at the Grove?
He did not. But he has a lot of top 5s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
I don't have the exact number on that, but he has been in the top 5 a lot.
Do you realistically think he could win? Or do you think he'll do like a top 3?
Like you're talking just Speedweek in general, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think. I feel like he could win. Yeah, I feel like he could.
Everybody in the comments.
He's top 4 in points for just Central PA in general right now.
Yeah, but the way the points are tallied for that is so different than what we have. Those points are tallied by the top 10 in a feature race every night, and that's it. And it's like, is it like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or is it like Formula 1 scoring style? I think it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I've never really dug into how this point series works. I'll be completely honest.
I asked George, was it George, or maybe it might have been Jimmy Barr who said that to me. That I asked about that.
Okay. Yeah, I have no knowledge. I just look at it and then it's pretty much what I would think. It's like a power rankings, essentially, is what it is.
Yeah.
But
except our algorithm it's still there, but
it's still there. It's definitely more accurate.
We don't use it.
More telling
anymore. We should.
It's okay.
We should try to use it. Maybe we will.
Whatever. We'll get back to it.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the points. I guess we've talked about who we think are champions. Let's talk about the weather, because we hate weather. Well, we hate the weather right now.
We do not like the weather right now.
Don't like the weather right now, but on the screen, I've got up the graphic. Matt can't see what's on the screen right now, but I've got on the screen what Matt put in his video, his quick little rain out update, the weekend weather. So tomorrow is looking like a 30. I'm just going to average it out to about a 38% chance of rain up until 7 o'clock, and then it drops to 18% for the rest of the night, which could mean It could mean it doesn't rain at all. It could mean that we get some rain and then it stops raining. I can't say dries up because it's so cool right now that it wouldn't evaporate very quickly.
Yeah, it would not be a dry surface, that's for
No.
sure.
But it could stop raining and maybe be something. And then Sunday, um, it's looking like they might need to move the start time up if they want to get it in, or maybe we'll get lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. I mean, the Lincoln, when I was looking yesterday at Lincoln's forecast, it looked way worse than this. I mean, there was not, the percentages were all above 50. So
Yeah,
hopefully it keeps trending downwards and then we will be okay. But as of now, I'm no meteorologist. It just, this weekend just does not look good when you look at the radar. There's just a lot of rain coming to
hmm
just the Northeast in general.
yeah,
So not ideal, but it could be worse. And hopefully, we are just watching sprint cars tomorrow night.
that would be great. I think that I always like it when the percentages go down as you get closer. That's a
Yeah.
good sign. And the flip side of that, so that's the positive side.
Mhm.
Now the negative side of that is with the weather we've had, overcast, cool. I mean, it is almost July, and I was wearing a sweatshirt while I was working today because I work from home. That's where I work from, right back
Mhm.
there. For anybody who cares, um, I was working in a sweatshirt. It is almost July. It's like it's not
I'm
warm enough.
wearing a sweatshirt.
He's wearing a sweatshirt right now.
Wearing a sweatshirt.
It's not warm enough for rain and water to get like evaporated and worked in.
No.
Like if we get how much rain do we get at all tomorrow that just cancels tomorrow? Do you like what say you, Matt Faust? I mean, you're no meteorologist per se, but like I'm concerned about any rain because there's not as much opportunity to get it out.
It's just already, and I mean, if you've been in this area, we were in a drought for a while, and of course, now we are not in a drought. Not that we didn't need the rain. I'm not gonna say we didn't need it. We obviously did. But of course, of all weeks for it to come back, it comes back on PA Speed Week.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I've just got a comment. Thank God it ain't snowing. That is a very good point.
I
It
guess
could be a
so.
lot worse.
But if it was snow, it would look nice. It would be kind of cool. It'd be like, oh, it looks snow. Although then
If
we'd
it
be
was
freezing
no,
cold.
I don't. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know
we
if we'd
wouldn't.
be seeing racing at all this. At least
No.
rain, it can go away in a few days. Snow is a lot bigger issue we'd had to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just feel like if you look at a dirt track right now, if we look at Lincoln Speedway right now, it is probably a muddy mess as it is with puddles everywhere. So
Mhm.
any rain tomorrow is probably not going to be ideal. That being said, the track staff there is pretty great. So I'm sure they're doing everything they can to work in the track every day
Yeah.
when they can. So hopefully it looks in good condition right now. I have not seen it. I didn't even see Williams Grove today, but obviously it was called at 9:30. I mean,
Well,
obviously it wasn't
well,
going to look good.
they would have given up pretty quickly
Yeah, I
anyway.
think they woke up and canceled today, but
But
I'm not going to bash them. It was the right
no,
call.
with how cool it is. And now it's humid, right?
Hmm.
Because it's rained like this now. It's humid, and on top of that, I mean, it rained pretty much all day. It's not raining right now, but it is. It rained for hours in the middle of the day,
Hmm.
so there's no chance.
It wouldn't have worked
No,
tonight.
but
So just a swampy weekend.
yeah,
Swampy week.
yeah. I'm kind of optimistic about tomorrow night. I am. I feel like it would be much more preferred, but I'm feeling a little bit more confident about tomorrow.
I think we'll be okay. I mean, the percentages keep going down. That's really what you want. I want to wake up tomorrow and for it to be sunny somehow and be back up in the 80s because I am just not liking this fall weather that we're getting in June.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it not being, 100 degrees, but if there's at any point in the year I want it to be 100 degrees, it's right now. That's for
yeah.
sure.
With no rain, yeah,
With no rain,
with no
yes,
rain.
absolutely.
Matt and I were in a car. We went to Port Royal last weekend, and I remember Matt saying something that I didn't quite fully agree with because I like cool weather. I'm a fan of when it's cooler, but Matt said something that I do vibe with. When it's like there's a time of the year where it's supposed to be 10 degrees and a time of year where it's supposed to be 100 degrees. And Matt said that when it's supposed to be 100 degrees, he wants it to be 100 degrees. And I was like, nah, I don't want it to be 100 degrees in the summertime. Like, it would be really awesome if it was 80 with low humidity all the time. But right now, and sort of at a higher level, when the weather's supposed to be like this, we're supposed to have weather that lets us go freaking drive sprint cars.
Yes.
So I definitely agree with you in that
I like
regard.
when it's hot during the day because then when I'm at a sprint car race at night, it just kind of cools down, but it's
Hmm.
not cold. It's nice. It's
Yeah.
perfect short and t-shirt weather, and it feels good. But
Well,
right now, it is perfect April shower weather, which is something we should have been done with 2 months ago,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I think it's literally because of the wildfires. I'm pretty sure the wildfires caused smoke, which blocked the sun, which
Correct.
kept the temperature down during the daytime. But you can tell that it's the clouds because the temperature stays pretty constant in the day and nighttime.
Hmm.
If it if the sky is clear, it'll get hot and then cool off. If it's cloudy during the day, the sun won't hit and it will keep it cooler. But if it's cloudy at night, it actually keeps the air, like the warmth in. It doesn't let the warmth dissipate out, and that makes the night times warmer when it's cloudy.
Hmm.
If people, for anybody who didn't know that, now you maybe know that. But
We're getting we're getting a nice lesson over here from Bill Nye. It's amazing.
I
Gotta love
am
it.
I'm
Hey,
somewhat of
this
a
is what
scientist.
happens when there aren't sprint car races. We start
Yeah.
losing our minds. It's just how it goes.
All of the other tidbits of information in the world that they kind of matter, but I don't give as much of a shit about them because they're not about sprint cars. But those things come out when we're not racing. But
The rest of the things happen, and then when we go sprint car racing, the regular scheduled program comes back.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So,
I'll reiterate to anybody who's with us, if you have any questions or have anything you want to talk about, throw it in a comment for this video. I
race
don't.
fans, who we cheering for this week?
Let's hear it for Marco. Let's hear it for Devin Borden, race fans. How about it for Lucas Wolf, race fans?
Who's cheering for Lance DeWeese?
Lance DeWeese. Um, let's let's talk about our dark horse picks,
Okay.
and maybe not per night, but let's talk about because Matt and I. So for my introduction prediction video, we picked some dark horses for every race this week. We were both wrong about tonight because we didn't pick Mother
Hey,
Nature.
but it wasn't our fault. It
Yeah,
wasn't a bad pick.
no.
No.
So we talked about some of the people who I picked specifically because they're arguably not dark horses. But I want to
Arguably. Yeah, I didn't know
arguably
what we were considering dark horses.
I when I think about like okay, think about Grandview, the race at
Yes.
Grandview. Okay,
Hmm.
Larson will be here, Enrico Abreu will be here. Okay,
Yes.
and then like you know everybody else who's going to go is going to go. Right, Devin will be there, A. Macri will be there, Marks will be there.
Hmm.
Who do you like? If I say who's going to win, who do you immediately think of?
Who do I think's going to win there?
Like immediately, just off the top of your head, talk about Grandview, who's going to win.
I mean, Larson or April. It's a different track,
Right.
and you would think one of those guys would dominate because nobody really. It's an equal playing field. So wouldn't you think one of those guys would win?
It's is it an equal playing field? I don't know. But
It's an equal. I'm saying it's an equal playing field going in for everyone, which means obviously the PA guys don't have an advantage. Meaning, the person with the more skill and more experience is probably going to win.
mhm.
So that's when you have to look at guys that travel to different tracks all the time and are used to getting up to speed quick. So you would think they
So
would.
do you think that? So I say my dark horse was, and I'll even admit this is a far shot for a dark horse, but my dark horse was Macri because I don't think he's going to win, but he's got that little flair of being good at racetracks that he doesn't go to a ton.
Hmm.
Like he won the high limit race earlier this year. That was
Yeah.
very unexpected. Although, I mean, he's great. He's a great driver, but kind of unexpected when he was out with Larson and everybody in a place he's never been. But like, he was my dark horse because it's like I could see Brent Marks winning that race. If like
Yeah.
Abreu and
I picked
Larson,
to win.
if Larson and Abreu wrecked each other, I'd be like, bang,
Yeah.
Brent Marks.
My thing is that he's just a traveler too, as you just mentioned.
I guess
So when I think of like going to Grandview, I think the 4 people that are able to win are Brent Marks, Anthony Macri, and then Larson and April.
Mm.
I think those are just the 4 where it's like those guys can win. I mean, throw in Danny Dietrich as well. I'm not going to throw any shade
Oh
against
yeah,
him.
definitely.
But I'm just saying, like, those guys are just the top-notch guys that travel to other places more.
Mhm.
So they're used to getting up to speed quick at other tracks.
Mhm.
Where if you look at a guy like Kyle Moody, you probably, like, that is just as dark horse as it gets right there.
That's
what I...
Well, you picked him as a. Did you pick him as a dark horse for BAPS?
I picked him for Grandview, actually.
Yeah.
I'm looking, I picked GMAC for BAPS.
That
I was running out of dark horses.
I don't know about that
I was
one,
like,
but
I was just
maybe.
no, I was just throwing in different names because I was like, well, I don't know who to take here.
But that's actually not a terrible dark horse.
I think the ultimate dark horse of the week is going to be Billy Dietrich because he has
Yeah.
been running amazing lately.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Billy Dietrich is going to win a race this week.
Oh.
Am I crazy? A little bit, but that's not unrelated to this discussion.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's a good dark horse because
Yeah.
I mean he's with the Shearer group now at Williams Grove, which is a new collaboration, and he's done quite well. He arguably should have already won a race this year.
Should have won last week.
But you know, it's still a new team. And then he just isn't, unfortunately, he just isn't a guy that we talk about like winning races at Lincoln all of the time.
Nope.
But he's always there. He's pretty good, you know.
He's been doing well. He had a great showing at the Steve Smith tribute race. He's been up there.
Yeah.
You can't take that away from him. He has been up there fighting for good places against good drivers. So it really just all has to click one night.
And what do you say about dark horse wise, Troy Wagaman? Because I'm still calling him a dark horse, even though he won a race. He has been with that team for what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
That's-
And it's I would agree. Like if he was on the Trone car, I'd consider him a dark horse for sure. But yeah, just when I think of the Hefner car, I just think of it as a staple car. But at the same time, that we haven't seen a lot of success out of that car lately. I mean, obviously, just one. I'm just saying before Troy took over, I mean, the car really wasn't running anyways. And when Borden was running it, it was a solid car, but it would show up to races and just not finish in the top 10 a few weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I think that was a very good pick by you to establish that. Just to me, I'm now starting to establish him as kind of a favorite to win races when it comes to it. But we'll have to see with him with big shows. I mean, he won races that didn't have everyone there.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see when everyone's there fighting for wins. How good is that Hefner car and how good is Troy Wagaman? I think he's going to be great. I think he's one of the more underrated drivers in the field.
He did beat Freddie Raymer, right? I mean, Freddie Raymer
Correct.
was at, yeah, so, I mean, he didn't just whoop up on Troy Fraker and Cody Lehman. You know?
No, but it's like, we're not talking Marks, Macri, none of them.
Was
Like
Lance?
you didn't have the meat of the show there.
Danny was there, though. And was
I
Lance?
believe Danny was, yeah. Yeah, Danny went last minute. Danny finished 6th.
Mm.
Yeah, he had a good battle with Devenport. They were fighting in the back there, yes.
I don't know. I mean, what I just said gives your argument more traction, but it's just too new, and Troy hasn't he didn't win with the Trone car. I can only think of once or maybe twice his number 19 car won.
He won once, I believe, at Lincoln.
Once.
It was like the Knoxville weekend.
Yes.
Yep.
So he's not a guy who we're used to seeing in victory lane. We're used to seeing him drive very well.
Yes.
So he still would be a dark horse for me.
No, I think it was completely fair. I was just a little salty because I would have put him as my dark horse a lot more because I think he could definitely win races. So definitely, I think he's probably the definition of a dark horse right now for sure.
With how new everything is. Jake McVeigh threw in a comment. You know what we could have? Yeah, let's have a discussion about Justin Peck. Obviously, well, I'll just lead by mentioning that Matt and I are both extremely happy that he's still alive.
Yes.
And we'll leave it there because that is a assumption that we could make with everybody because nobody wants to see people get hurt. Now, where does Justin Peck fall for you? Is he a dark horse to win races, or is he a favorite to win races? Does it change at which racetracks we go to?
No, because once I just feel like he's a traveler too. So I guess I should put him in the list there. I mean, he's part of the meat of the schedule. He's already won a race in PA this year.
Mhm.
Obviously, he runs well at Lincoln. I mean, he ran well there last week.
Mhm.
But I just feel like he is just a strong car no matter where he goes. Justin Peck is someone you have to consider for any tour he joins, but especially when he's here. You just have to think that car's based out of Lancaster. He's comfortable
Yep.
when he's here. I mean, people in the pits love him. You know, he's just a good guy to be around. So he's very comfortable when he's here, and I mean, he could easily be the champion this week. You know, I think it's going to be tough, but it's going to be tough for everyone too, for that matter. I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for Marks or Macri by any
No.
means.
I would put Justin in like a second tier. If you look at who could win the championship, and then people who are, it would be a little more of a, like, you'd have to really have a good week, but they could win. And I would put him there with Devin Borden. Like, they could win it. They would have to have a really good week and a little bit of luck come their way. But they're both in great cars, and they're both great drivers, and they're both very capable of winning races. So those are the two that, to me, it's like those two guys could be winners, but they're not dark horses, but they're maybe underdogs.
Yeah,
They have a reasonable chance, but they aren't the favorite.
I think second tier is probably a good way to put it. I mean, I would like to see things shake up. I would love to see just Borden just run away or Peck just be the ones fighting for it.
I mean, I would love if Chase Dietz was running every race and he won every race. Well, winning every race would be kind of like, it would actually, well, it would be, actually, never mind. That would be really freaking cool.
It would be crazy.
That'd
be really crazy. And that car would be running a lot more because they would win a lot of money.
Yeah.
They would win, what, $30,000 for like the points.
Yep.
And then if you win the last 3 races, that's just $30,000 too.
Yeah, I forget what the total tallies are, but yeah, it's
for the last.
You probably win
if you won Friday through Monday next week, you would win 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we got to hop in a sprint car, man. That could help out.
We'd have to be good at driving sprint cars. We'd have to.
We just got to get there. We got to get to the finish line first. That's all it is.
Who's a good driver we could purge from somebody that doesn't have a ride right now? I don't know. Put Pat Cannon in a car. I work with Pat Cannon. I could go down.
Yeah,
hey, you want to drive a sprint? You want to drive a sprint car again? Get him in a car. I mean, he's good at Port, good at Williams Grove. Anyway, that's pipe dream. We're not gonna go down that road.
Yeah, we're not. We could sit here and talk about our fantasies for a little bit here, but no. But okay, another dark horse I want to look at real quick.
Yeah.
Blaine Heimbach at Sealands Grove. If there were odds for this,
those
Blaine Heimbach at Grove.
He would have a law. He would be like, yeah. He would have a longer shot, but not the longest shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good there.
He's
good at Sealands Grove.
The problem.
I think he can do it.
I don't know that Heimbach is capable, equipment-wise, of keeping up with some of the stuff we've seen out of like the Shuttlesworth car, the Boop car, the Kreitz car. Like I
feel like a top 10 would be good for him.
Yeah.
So.
But you're right. He's a dark horse, and I mean, with the year we've had and some of the things that we've seen, like it's so dependent on a lot of things. I mean, there was that one day race last year where Rick Lafferty like schooled the entire field, and Rick's a good driver, but not somebody that you'd normally see just a lap ahead of second, but he did it.
Yeah.
So it could, like, something like that could happen, and if something like that was going to happen, Heimbach is a guy I could see being the perpetrator. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
I think that was a good pick on your part.
And another pick I should have thought more of, Gerard McIntyre, GMAC. Had a good race last week at Port. Could have won. Steve Buckwalter pulled out that experience on him, but
that was a great race.
GMAC's been looking good at Port. I mean, he runs there every week, so you got to expect him to have some good races, but I could see him doing well.
Well, also, I mean, GMAC's from New Oxford, which is right next to Abbottstown. And I know that he, the last 2 years, has taken his own car. It's like an all-white number 16 car. And he goes to Lincoln. And he goes to Babs, too, I believe. I could see him showing up to those races. And one thing that always gets me about Gerard McIntyre is that he is good at Lincoln. He will show up in a car that he has not run yet that year, his 16 car. He has not pulled it out of the garage yet. He will show up to the Speedweek event where there are 40 cars, and he like is in the top 5. So
good.
I could see him as a definite dark horse at Lincoln.
Something in
And
New Oxford blood, man. I mean, you grow up around that track. You can hear it from anywhere in New Oxford. You
Yeah.
can hear the cars every Saturday night. It's in your blood to want to do well there, for sure.
I did not grow up that close to a racetrack. I am jealous.
That's okay, man.
Almost
It
did.
got a little annoying, but
Almost
it
did.
actually it was never annoying to me.
It probably
Loved
was
hearing
perfect.
410s from my backyard when we were having a fire on a Saturday night. That was amazing. Wish I was there. Wish I was there more, but that's okay.
It's fine.
I go more now. I've been to Lincoln more this year than I did my entire childhood.
It's because we have our own expensible. Well, we have some money, income wise, that we can spare.
Yeah, we have jobs
We
and
have jobs
cars.
Yes.
Jobs and cars helps.
We have jobs and cars. Those are the two things.
Jobs and cars.
Yes, the two things you need to be independent. A car.
We just got to
and a job.
call in. I think this is a good discussion. It's a little not off topic at all, actually.
No, I think
how
I do.
long till Lance hangs it up?
Yes.
And that's something I think about probably like 3 times a week.
Yes.
I mean, every week. I think about it a lot. I'm like, it's gonna not be fun when I'm going to Williams Grove, and that guy isn't driving there anymore.
Well,
You know,
there's a couple pieces to that puzzle, because you've got that dream team right now. Lance
Yep.
driving, Donnie owns it, and Davey Brown wrenches it.
yes.
Davey Brown is not a young fellow. He's a cool guy. He's unknowingly intelligent. Like he is.
You couldn't tell that he wasn't a young fellow by the way that car runs.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. But I wonder when Davey Brown hangs it up, or whatever happens, does Lance stay, or does Donnie kind of shut it down? Cassidy Kreitz is there. Cassidy is Donnie's niece or daughter.
I do not know the relation.
I forget.
I'll be honest.
I thought
do
it
not
was
know
I thought it was just his granddaughter, but I don't remember exactly. At this exact moment, I don't remember which it is.
Yeah.
But she's my age. She's I think same year age as me. So she has an opportunity. If Lance wasn't racing that car, she could just run the Kreitz car with the team. It could be like the family deal. But I don't know if I don't know if Lance would stay if Davey goes. I think Davey goes before Lance. I don't think Lance is the one who stops.
Yeah, I would agree.
So it kind of comes down for me. It kind of comes down to how long do we think Davey Brown's going to be around? I could see a few more years.
Yeah, I mean, there was in the National Open Victory Lane. They asked, Lance, how long are you going to be here? And he's like, well, I like keeping these guys young, and these guys want to keep running the car. So
yeah,
and that was the last race they ran last year. So clearly, it's not stopping soon. But how much is left in the tank?
Yeah.
And as you said, it does come down to Davey Brown at that point.
I think so, and because I also wonder, it's his daughter. Yep, I was right before. Yes. Yep. Okay, so I did have it at one point there, but Cole DeWeese is also something to talk about in that conversation.
Yeah.
Because Lance's son Cole races, and I would think Cole probably will jump into. He will have a quick step-up system.
Those are big shoes to fill, Cole. Very big shoes to fill.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, he's going to grow up racing, so he'll.
Oh yeah, I mean, if there's anyone you want to teach it, it's Lance DeWeese. I mean, come on, over 200 combined wins at Port Royal and Williams Grove alone. So incredible.
I wonder if he retire. Like, if Davey retires, does Lance say, "Yeah, you know what? I had a good thing going, and I'm going to end on top, and now I'm going to start getting my son up, and we're going to, 305, 410, like move Cole up," because I think Cole might be just out of high school. I don't remember.
Is he? I did not know. I thought he
don't
was
know.
younger. I wasn't sure.
He probably
But I do
is.
not. I do not know much.
'Cause
I'll
he's
be honest. I do not
still-
know much. In that.
Races micros.
Yeah, I mean he's racing up in Linda's. I do know that.
Mm.
I mean not tonight per se, but
Well,
in general,
no.
that is where he races.
I actually saw that come up on my feed today while I was on my lunch break. Linda's closed.
They canceled today.
Yeah.
I mean, expected.
Yeah. I like Linda's. I really like going to see the micros. I think the micros are like my favorite. Micros are my favorite sounding race car.
Interesting.
Even over 410s, I'm sorry, but I like the high pitched scream of the micros. I just like it. It's nice.
I've never seen a micro race, so I couldn't tell you.
That's right, because you live on the west side of the river.
Yeah, we just have 410s over here.
I'm jealous, but I do like the micros. Anyway, that's so back to get off back onto the
back to Lance. In the Cole situation.
Do you think he would just hang it up if Davey hangs it up? Do you think he'd go out with him like on a high note, or do you think he would drive a different car? Like,
I don't think he would drive a different car. I think he likes where he's at because he doesn't have to run a lot in general. I think that's good for him because especially with his son, as we mentioned, he's able to just focus more on that, and he doesn't have to be at the track every weekend and have that pressure. He just feels comfortable. He's won a lot in that car, so when he shows up and maybe he doesn't have a great race, it's not a big deal, right? You don't have to perform for a sponsor. He's showing what he can do in that car, so he's always going to have that respect. Not that if he went to a different car, he wouldn't. But
no, he would.
I think he's late in his career to where he's not trying to jump ship and go somewhere else. I think he's going to be driving that 69K car. I think that's the last car we might see him drive.
I could see that. I could agree with that. Except for maybe just like a very short deal, like if
like a one race off thing.
Yeah, like what happened with Pittman in the 27 car after Devin left that car.
Yeah.
I could see Lance doing something like that, but that's
yeah,
it.
I would agree.
Or I mean, if the Kreitz team decided they wanted to run two cars again, which they haven't done since Ryan Smith and Donnie Kreitz drove as teammates, but like they could run Cassidy and Lance's teammates. But I wouldn't see that being that wouldn't be sustainable for them both to run weekly. That would be a very rare thing.
No.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with that as an answer to the question? We didn't really give a numerical answer to this. I'm saying within 5 years, I don't think.
Yeah, I think we kind of did touch on it, but yeah, I'd say 5 years. That's within 5 years.
Yes, within 5 years.
That's going to be the end of it for him.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed. But it's going to be sad. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Actually, now
every time I'm there and I see him win, I'm like, yeah, I've seen this a lot, but I like it.
Actually, I'm going to go back on what I said because saying 5 years and Lance Deweese won't be racing anymore. Like 5 years from now, I don't think the Kreitz deal will be what it is. If he's still doing like the National Open every year or whatever. But I'm actually going to go back on it. I actually don't think the Kreitz car's the last. Well, I don't think 5 years from now Lance will be done. I don't think he will be cold turkey done in 5 years. I think 5 years from now Lance will show up to like big events.
I think it's still be racing part-time, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he?
And I, at that point, I don't think it's a short period. I think I'm starting to think that'll happen longer than we're probably alluding to. I think he'll do that for a while.
Yeah.
Because he's Lance
see that.
Deweese.
Yes. He will always have a ride, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
He will always have a car to drive in.
And he will always be capable of winning.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Nobody can run the bottom like him. People try. Often imitated, never duplicated. We're talking about Lance Deweese, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. Actually, I won an iRacing event doing exactly what he does.
It's effective.
It worked. It worked in iRacing. That was like 2 years ago when the build of the cars was manageable. I'd like to ask some drivers this week if the iRacing update makes it more realistic or not. But anyway, yeah, Lance is very good, and will
very good. Yeah, he's not bad at what he does. Yeah, not bad. He's quite good, I guess you could say. About 121 wins at Port Royal.
Yeah, and 110? No, I'm thinking it's like 100.
No, yeah, because I forgot he won like 8 races last year. That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot that he casually won like the most races at the Grove last year.
Well, there's that. Did the Silver Crown race start yet?
You know, that's a great question. Let me check.
Why don't you
Let me
check that?
Race Monitor.
Because I don't have anything else to talk about. And we've been on for 50 minutes. And I mean, I really enjoy having intelligent conversations about sprint cars. But I almost feel bad for keeping Jake McVeigh on here with us instead of doing something that would get him a YouTube video that people would want to watch, or I don't know.
Silver
I think
Crown is qualifying right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you want to hit on before we call the rain voucher off for the evening? Because I don't have anything.
Honestly, we covered more than I thought we would.
Yeah.
So
I thought I didn't think this was going to go for 50 minutes.
I didn't know where we were going. You said you were leading, and I was just going to join, and we just kept having good, intelligent conversation about sprint cars with Jake in the chat. So I enjoyed it.
And obviously, and with Williamson,
yes,
William Wagaman. I wonder if William is related to any of the Wagamans, because there's Troy and there's Tim, and they are not related to each other. So I wonder if William is on one of those sides of the boat.
There's a lot of Wagamans down in the Adams County, York County area for sure. So very common last name.
And it's interesting you say that, because I grew up in Lebanon County and there are none. So.
Oh, interesting. I was going to say, I didn't know if you were going to be like same up here, and I'm like, well, maybe it's just a South Central PA, but no.
We do not have any Wagamans. We have Martins and Weavers.
And everyone has Smiths.
Everybody has Smiths. That's right.
Yeah, I mean that's just a universal thing, or a national thing, not international.
Yes, a national thing. Yes.
National thing for sure.
Yeah. So I'm kind of I'm holding for a second, because there's a lag when we say things to when it gets broadcasted. So I'm having things go broadcasted, and I'm waiting for a response back to see if I got a response on if William's related. But if not, it's all good. I think it's safe to call it off. Is there anything you'd like to add or conclude with your final thoughts, Matt Faust?
No, just thank you everybody for tuning in. This is fun. I mean, Joe and I talk about this stuff all the time, so it's nice to have a little bit of an audience here listening to us. Yeah. And interacting with us. So, hopefully we can do more of this. We talked about doing podcasts in the future. So really, it's just, take the initiative on that. This was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yep. And I guess it's safe to say this will be our course of action when there are rainouts this week. So anytime that a Speedweek event rains out at some point in that evening, we'll go ahead and go live and just shoot the shit and talk about the week. Well, in the future, hopefully we'll be able to talk about things that happened already.
Yeah, hopefully you're seeing our recap videos and our other content that we have planned, we've prepared for, but we'll see.
So anyway,
we'll see.
Thank you everybody for watching. I would encourage you to hit the bell icon if you're a subscriber to get updates when things go live from myself and Matt for this week. You can shut it off at the end of this week, that's fine, but we're really trying to bat high this week. Excuse me. We're trying to, I had to hold a burp down there. We're trying to bring it a step up from where we have been in the past with Speedweek. That's the goal every year, but this year we're definitely trying to make a bigger leap than we did last year. And I'm very lucky that Matt's here with me to do more of it side by side. So thank you for your support. Hopefully you keep watching and keep supporting it as the week goes on. And I'm praying that we'll be talking to you from Lincoln tomorrow night. So go have a good night. Get some rest, because Speedweek is here and you're going to need to get ready to be up late.
There's at least 9 races left.
Yes.
All right. At least 9.
At least.
That's still a lot.
That's right. So on that note, take it easy. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you from Lincoln Speedway tomorrow.